How many kids that can afford 9,000 naira?
Who's your competition?
Yes.
What's this, sir?
What were your revenues?
Then we were too structured.
Chief,
Revenue.
Chief,
Okay.
each design, how many?
The idea of our brand is
Uncle, answer the question. Why are you beating around the bush? Hi guys, we're going to be talking about the episode 4 of the Lion's Den. So guys, you all know this is a usual topic here. The business reality show currently airing in Nigeria is the Lion's Den, and this is a reality show that showcases 5 big lions that are top-notch investors who are investing in small businesses, and the only ritual to getting an investment is to pitch, have a reasonable business, have a good technical know-how, have a good understand the numbers in your business, and of course make a very decent pitch and get the opportunity to get an investor. Guys, if you're hopping into my channel for the very first time, thank you so much. My name is Julie Che and welcome to Personality Highlights. In this channel, I talk about reality shows, a lot of reality shows. I talk about reality shows, and basically the reason why I talk about this is because I feel it helps a lot of people who are struggling with problems, questions, unanswered solutions, like people seeking for solutions to find like a remedy or to understand where to start heading towards solving their problems. And basically that's why I talk about reality shows. And guys, the episode 4 of the Lion's Den has a lot of interesting things. We saw 4 entrepreneurs get into the den. Oh my goodness, guys, before we continue, please hit on the red subscribe button to be a part of this family if you are not already. And don't forget to turn on post notification, and of course like this video if any of the contents that I share here makes any form of sense. So the episode 4 of the Lion's Den, we saw 4 entrepreneurs as usual get into the den pitching their businesses for investments. The first entrepreneur who got in was Akpabio, and his company's name was Aideology. Basically his business was learning made easy for children. It's a game that helps kids interact and also like have some historical know-how, geographical know-how. Like it basically incorporates everything you need to know about Nigeria into a game, and it helps children understand their identity, national identity. And basically it was a beautiful pitch. This young man was pitching for a very interesting offer. He was pitching for 20 million naira for a 25% equity share in his business, in his company. And guys, I would not even lie. When he called, he asked for one of the lions to volunteer to come and have a hint, like share an experience in playing the game. And Mrs. Adenike volunteered to be that person to play the game. She came on stage, and it was like a mini introduction. It was like a mini explanation. It was a mini practical section to show how this game works. And Mrs. Adenike was told to flip the cards, and the card has questions in them. And Akpabio actually explained the rules of engagement and everything. At the end of his pitch, it was quite an interesting pitch. He was pitching for 20 million naira for 25%, and he wanted to get more games. He wanted to market this to more children. And guys, after the pitch from entrepreneurs, the lions go straight ahead into the real deal, which is asking questions. And at the end of the throwback questions, like back-to-back questions, one of the most interesting pointers in his business was that he said he was making a lot of profits from this business because they asked him for, I think Kiara asked him for his production cost, how much it cost to make the game, and he said about 3,500 thereabout, and that he was selling at 9,000 naira. 3,000 and 9,000. He was making like real huge. His profit margins were really high. But there was this question that Mr. Paul Owanibe asked, and the question was, how many kids in private schools will not be able to afford this game? And he said 70%. And the question was, how many can you convince out of the 70% to buy these games? And he mentioned a very low percentage. At that point, the problem that was surrounding his business growing into the projection he had made became very glaring, because it became very obvious that it would be very difficult to sell a 9,000 naira product to kids, to children who are still dependent on their parents. And basically, this was like what raised the eyebrows. Kiara also mentioned this as, okay, the only reason why everything is very beautiful, the exhibitions are too priced, that the only problem was that if the product was actually maybe worth 2,000, something that was really very, affordable, maybe he would have been able to see the company's projection and how they were going to make the 140 million or thereabout that he was asking for. Comparing the price, at the end of the day, all the entrepreneurs, all the lions were hinting on the same reasons why they were not going to be investing in his business. In fact, that business was one of the most interesting businesses that I really was wishing that would have an investor, a lion, come in. But unfortunately, guys, after this young man's speech, after the beautiful acknowledgement that his business was really a very viable business, the only problem that the lion saw with his business was the pricing. And so the questions were, it's too pricey. If it was cheaper, maybe they would have been able to invest. And then, of course, as usual, Mr. Dan gave his own reasons. He asked if there was a platform where these products can be given out, if there was a digital footprint for Aideology. And unfortunately, Mr. Akpabio had probably not thought about that, or probably he said it was in fact 50% the app getting ready. And so it was more like, oh my God, if this app had been created if the app was ready, maybe he would have stand a better chance of getting the offer. But guys, for some reason, I just feel like the reason why Aideology, Akpabio did not get any lion to invest in his business was not because he didn't have digital footprint. Because I feel since he was 50% into the game already, maybe he would have been able to convince the lions to still invest. I think the only basic problem, the major problem why the lions felt his business was uninvestable, was because it was too pricey. Because kids, it would be a struggle to have people pay so much more for just a game. So 9,000 naira. Kiara was saying if it was 2,000 naira, it would have been very fast for them to scale. At the end of the day, Mr. Akpabio ended up leaving the den without a dime from any of the lions. It was quite very, 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 very. It was very bad that he had a very big business, but because it was too pricey, he didn't have digital footprint, he was shut down. Now the second entrepreneur we saw come into the den was this young woman who had a honey business, and she was asking for 500,000 naira for a 20% equity share. Guys, if you ask me, that was just a very, very decent offer. And questions were thrown at her, at how she started. Where she was asked what she did, and she said she was a chef, and she said her uncle produces the honey. And Mrs. Adenike asked a very interesting question. I was like, who are your competitors? At the end of the day, she established the fact that her competitors were selling more than her, that people were selling for like as much as 3,000 plus, but she was selling cheaper. And so that was like a more ground for her to gain more customers. And then there was this question, Mr. Dan. I don't know, for some reason, I always look out for any question that Mr. Dan would ask, because he has a very intelligent way of throwing in some very, very sensitive question. So his question was, does the product have an expiry date? No, I think when the honeybee lady, Bashibat, was explaining about her business, she said that honey does not have expiry dates. And it was at that point that Mr. Dan cut her short. I was like, how would you say honey does not have expiry date? You're contradicting yourself, because from your label, you're giving 5 years expiry date. So, and then Bashiba said the reason why they had to put that was because that's it's good supermarket, and then they had to put a price. They had to put like a date there, but honestly, the honey does not have an expiry date. And it was quite interesting. At the end of the day, Mr. Bolaji offered to introduce her to sme.ng, where she could get all the help and finance she needs in her business. Interestingly again, Mr. Dan, I think it was very, 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 very interesting and thoughtful of him. He looked at it like, okay, she's just asking for 500,000, and she looks like she is really passionate about this business. And Mr. Dan decided to give her all the money she needed, which was 500,000. And I think the reason why he did that was just, he was looking at, okay, this is like something I can do without feeling any pain. They were not really looking at the equity share, because it was more like they didn't even bargain for the equity share in her business. So it was more like they gave her 500,000 maybe, and then the returning, it was like, okay, we're giving you a loan of 500,000. We don't want any equity share, because basically when I did not hear any negotiation, it's like the first time I'm seeing them give out that kind of money without an equity share. She was asked, if you're giving 500,000, how fast can you return the money? She said 5 months, and then Mr. Dan offered that she repay in 24 months, which is 1 year. And basically the deal was done. And at the end of the day, the addition to her business was that they were going to see how she could help other people in Jalingo, because to grow, get involved in honey business and all that, empowerment and the rest of it. And guys, I will not fail to also add this. Mrs. Adenike, she has a very sensitive way of helping these entrepreneurs find out their unique selling points. So she was able to identify that Taraba, like Bathsheba's business, honey, was coming from one of the best honey wells in Nigeria. They say Taraba has the best honey. And so basically when Bolaji said that, I mean, Mrs. Adenike had to add more facts that this is a selling point for you. All you have to do, of course, you're a chef, all you need to do is create more information, create more awareness, and let people know what they can use honey to do. And at the end of the day, this honey business owner did not just get 500,000 she was asking for. She got free mentorship, she got free like mentoring services. She got new ideas on how she can actually scale her business. And basically this is one of the reasons why I love the Lions Den, because I look at these entrepreneurs, these lions, they're not just there to just come and pounce into your business. They're actually helping small business owners like grow and become better. Now the third entrepreneur we saw in the den was this fashion entrepreneur. He came in with all this swag, even came in with 2 models. They came catwalk, turned, you know, and really with the whole swag that came in, I was really expecting an explosive presentation. Unfortunately, we did not get anyone, because we found out that this young man, Dream, I think, what's his name of his company? Dream Miles brand. I mean, he turns this kaftan to beautiful outfits for men, and it was really looking nice. But one of the spoiler alerts for him, one of the red flags that was spotted in his business was he was very incoherent. He was just talking anyhow. Like he was not very, very, very coherent about what he was saying. He was not really detailed. He didn't know his facts right. Lots of missing content in his business. And it was not even hard to spot out, because when Mr. Owanibe Paul asked him questions about his business, how much he had made, you know, he just kept beating around the bush. Like at a point, I was like, Ogbeni, answer the question. Why are you just beating around the bush? He has to talk about doing a business in Osogbo. Basically, I don't know, but there's something about these civil engineers. What is it because you are just thinking about construction and all that? Maybe that's why you're not understanding that mathematics is very, very important, and your numbers are really, really important. And you, at the end of the day, because he was not giving very like detailed responses, he didn't really understand the numbers around his business. It looked like most of the things he was saying were pure guesswork. You know, at the end of the day, Dream Waves with all the fashion icon, this dude was asking for 20 million investment in his business for a 25% equity share. Seriously, I would not even lie, even though he had a very good business. Unfortunately, Dreamwears, the savvy fashionista who came in with the swag, with the models, and with with a very undetailed analysis of his business without the real numbers in his business, did not get any 20 million naira, neither did he get any equity share. So there was no investment for the fashionista who popped in with swag. Guys, if there's anything to learn about these lions, they are not ready to invest in anybody who does not know their numbers. They are not ready to invest in any entrepreneur who cannot answer questions, simple questions about their business. And basically, I think that was just the biggest problem with this dude's business. Like, that was the number one problem. He was asking for 20 million naira for 15% equity share. There was no agreement. They did not understand the numbers. And Mrs. Adenike went as far as explaining that couture and cut and sew is not the same thing. I mean, for some of us who are fashion entrepreneurs, we actually understand what she was trying to imply. And in fact, all the lions wished him well, and most of them said that he would actually do well running a business. And I think when I look at the fashion businesses that have come into the show so far, I would say most times they don't get any funding because one of the reasons why they don't get funding, I think most of the fashion entrepreneurs who have been coming really don't understand their numbers. And this is a business that is really, like the competition is super high. So I think like there should be an extra value if you're a fashion entrepreneur, you're coming in. Unfortunately, those do not get any investment. The very final entrepreneur who came in as this dude, this look-alike baby-faced entrepreneur. He said he was 23, though he looked 16, because that was the very first question Mrs. Adenike asked. Travella is actually rendering services, helping people earn money from being part of their company, because they like a courier service where they do interstate, intercountry kind of thing. So they said they were trying to create something like the Uber, like the Booking.com, but this is for like parcels, packages, receiving packages and the rest of it. He was asking for 20 million naira for an equity share of 15% in his business. And the questions came, of course. The questions came. Mrs. Adenike was the first person. He really looked young. He looked very interesting. And the questions stretched further with Mr. Dan asking him questions about his Travella, if it had an app. And unfortunately, that was where the spoiler alerts came in. And when he explained that they only had the analog version of it because they had a web app where you could do all your transactions, and that one of the reasons why they had not developed a mobile app yet was because they were trying to really understand how their business works. They were trying to really get the numbers right. Though he made some very impressive statements. He said in the first quarter they started their business that they had been able to register at least 100 users and made about, I think, 500,000 naira, if I heard that right. So basically he was asking for funding so that he can, expand his business. And Mr. Dan had a problem with him. The question was, why are you coming in too early to pitch? Why don't you wait till your app is ready? And even though I know one of the reasons why this dude came to pitch for money was probably finance. Like, people don't have money to do so many things in their business. And I feel if he had probably said that, maybe it would have changed Mr. Dan's perception or not. Like, he would have just been able to answer that question, why are you coming so early into the den? Because I think one of the problems majorly Mr. Dan has with people coming into the den is coming in with unfinished products. That's how he puts it. For some reason, Bolaji saw a business in it, and Bolaji made an offer. And before the offer came, Bolaji asked this young man to tell him a story about where he was from, his family background, because there was this question, very sensitive question. Kiari asked what their what if somebody carries like drugs, what is their verification processes like? And he said something about Paystack, and then they were like, why don't you go direct? Why are you using Paystack? You're leaving money on the table. Anyways, the questions came in back to back, but Bolaji saw through it all. Told him to explain his family background. He said his father was not educated, his mother was not educated, and that he was trying, though he knew he was supposed to work more, he preferred to go to school, and he was working somewhere. He was trying to make money to pay for his fees, learn more about entrepreneurship and product development. And basically at the end of the day, being the first kid in the Nigerian society like this, and looking at this 23-year-old who was still in school, working hard, I think Bolaji was able to connect to his story. And at that point, Bolaji made an offer. And Bolaji's offer was 20 million naira. They were going to give him all the money he needed. I think 10 million was going to be payable back. Then 10 million naira will just be the normal equity share. And they were asking for 26% equity share instead of 15%. And then Bolaji said he was willing to do it alone, but he gave an option for any of the lions to come in. to be a part of the process with him, because I mean they saw a great potential in his business, even though that it was still in the analog stage, even though he had not really made it digital, but there was a high chance that this business looked like it was going to scale very high if the lions came in. Eventually Kiara decided to join Bolaji on the bargain, and at the end of the day, Mrs. Adenike was actually very interested, because I mean she was the first person who asked the question of how old are you, and so we, at the end of the day, this Travello had 3 lions humping into his business for a 26% share, of course, offering 20 million naira. And at that point, he was, the only thing left was for him to make a decision as to whether he was going to be taking up the offer. And because Mr. Adenike felt like he was still very young, he didn't understand a lot of things. I think that was why she suggested that he should make a call. Guys, you also know that the rules of engagement in the show is that you can advocate to make a call, like get to make informed decisions. You could call somebody, a friend, a professional, anybody who you know would give you a good advice on a decision to take. So he went outside, made a call. At the end of the call, he came back with a counter offer. But unfortunately, Bolaji wasn't taking it. He was like, make it worth our while. At the end of the day, Travello was like, thank you so much for believing in me and my business. And guys, that is how the youngest chap that came into the den collected 20 million naira, with 3 lions investing and getting back 26% equity share, from the business. Guys, at the end of the day, episode 4, we saw 20 million naira deal signed, sealed, delivered from Travello, and the 500,000 naira deal, which I'm not sure had an equity share, because it felt like it was more of charity from Mr. Dan. But even if there was a equity share, of course, it would be 20%, which she had actually proposed earlier. So looking at these businesses, guys, I will tell you, these lions are not just there to bite and run. They're there to actually help businesses grow. And if there is a take-home learning curve in this, is that we should all have a digital footprint. I mean, whatever business, I mean, this Aideology guy, I'm so angry that he did not get an investment. And basically, I think it was basically because his business didn't even have any kind of digital whatever. Like, I think that was just the major concern. Because, I mean, maybe if he probably had the web app, maybe he would have stood a chance, and, the mobile thing. But it would look plainly like it was just an analog kind of thing in a digital world. And guys, just like it is, episode 3, guys, you guys remember that they talked about carbon footprints, which was one of the reasons why one business would not have gotten a deal, but eventually got a deal. Now we're looking at this episode 4, and the take home is that digital footprints is like the new way to growing a business in a modern world. And I don't know, there are a lot of take homes. Don't come to the den unprepared. Know your numbers right. Have a digital platform for your business to grow. Know your numbers, and of course be very coherent with whatever you're saying. And yes, look for mentorship, because you never know. I mean, your ability to be open enough would make these guys accept your offer. Guys, that was basically everything that happened in the episode 4 of the Lion's Den. I hope you're following. I hope you're enjoying my reviews. Let me know your thoughts so far. Which deal do you think have been the best deal you've seen so far? I mean, what do you think about this reality show? I think it's a big one for us, for a lot of Nigerian entrepreneurs to leverage on and get visible and actually grow their business. Because basically, I was looking at this episode 4, and I felt like even this honeybee, the honeybee queen, if she had not even gotten the 500,000, I'm very sure after she leaves the show, a lot of people would be willing to offer her 500,000 naira to invest in her business. Because basically, this show is really giving a lot of entrepreneurs like a platform, an open platform, to come into the show, to pitch their businesses. And of course, guys, if you know your business, you're running a business that looks illegal, just like the Steph Make kind of business, and you'll be putting your business in trouble, of course. So don't even come close. But if you know you have a solid, legit business, I think the Lions Den is an opportunity for entrepreneurs to really come out there and share more. Guys, I think very soon I'm going to be sharing a video on how to put you through on how to apply for the season 2, because basically currently as it is, it looks like people can still apply to be a part of the season 2 of the Lions Den. I'm going to see you all in my next video. Don't forget to be a part of this conversation by doing the needful. Of course, subscribe, throw in your comments, like this video, and I'm going to see you in another video. Don't forget to check out my other videos, because basically we talk about content that will help you, get more of whatever you want to get out of your life. My one of the biggest things that I'm looking forward to doing in this channel is to help people who are struggling with anything in their life, personal finance, struggling with identity crisis, just get their lives back by getting the needed information they need through reality shows, of course. And of course, this is not the only thing I talk about. I talk about social issues and a lot more here. Guys, thank you so much for your time. Bye-bye. And I'm going to see you all in another episode of Personality Highlights. Have a beautiful day.